but don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time. Yeah.
Donald Trump just made one of the biggest political reversals of his career, and it's all tied to Jeffrey Epstein. He claims he has signed a bill that is going to force the government to release Epstein's Justice Department files. If he is right, that could shake up the political world in ways nobody would expect. But there is a twist. What Trump is promising and what the public will actually get might be two very different things. Hey everybody, welcome back. The story today is exploding across social media and political circles. Trump says he has signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, a law that on paper forces the Department of Justice to release a huge trove of unclassified files tied to the Jeffrey Epstein case. According to Trump, these documents are going to start becoming public within the next 30 days. And he is selling this as a victory for transparency, as if he just ripped the lid off a long hidden box of secrets. But when you actually look a little deeper, this move isn't quite as straightforward as it sounds, and definitely not as sudden as Trump wants people to think. Let's start with what he announced. On Truth Social, Trump said he signed the bill and called on the DOJ to make the files public, with minimal redactions. He says he personally pushed congressional leaders to pass the law. And the law itself does require the Justice Department to publish unclassified materials. Things like emails, notes, investigative records, communications, things that could reveal who Epstein was connected to and what those connections meant. We're talking potentially around 100,000 pages of information. Now here is where the story gets interesting. Not long ago, Trump wasn't just uninterested in releasing these files, he was actively against it. He said the whole thing was a Democratic hoax. He mocked the documents as boring. He questioned why anyone cared. His allies echoed him. And for months, he dismissed the idea that anything meaningful would come from transparency. Then, overnight, he flipped. Now, all of a sudden, he wants everything out. Now, all of a sudden, he wants complete transparency. Now, all of a sudden, he is positioning himself as the man who is going to take everyone else down. And it is not just him. Several prominent Republicans, including Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace, joined Democrats to advance the bill. That is a rare bipartisan moment, and the timing is curious. So why the complete shift? Why now? Part of the answer might be political strategy. Trump is framing the release of these files as a way to expose his opponents. He is saying Democrats are terrified of what is inside. He even says they're pushing the Epstein narrative to distract from what he calls his amazing victories. By backing the release, Trump can present himself as fearless, transparent, and unstoppable, all while daring others to worry about what might come out. But there is another side to this story, the fine print. The bill does force the release of unclassified documents, yes, but the Attorney General still has broad authority over what gets redacted. The DOJ also can legally withhold materials relating to ongoing investigations, grand jury secrecy, and certain sensitive details. It cannot block things simply because they are embarrassing or politically damaging. But those other categories are wide enough to cover a lot. In other words, the public could get a massive document dump thousands of pages, and the most explosive parts could be covered in black bars. That means the question isn't just, what will we learn, but what will we never see? Meanwhile, Epstein survivors and their advocates say this could be a breakthrough. They have been fighting for years for the truth to come out about who enabled Epstein, who protected him, and who participated in his crimes. For some of them, the bill is a victory. For others, there is skepticism, with concerns that political interests on all sides could still shape what gets revealed. And then there is the larger impact once these files drop. They won't just affect Democrats or Republicans, but could affect billionaires, CEOs, celebrities, judges, international figures, and people whose names have barely been whispered in public. Epstein's circle wasn't limited to one party or one country, and the fallout could be messy, unpredictable, and wide-ranging. So here is the reality. Trump's announcement sets the stage for a massive political moment. But whether we get real transparency or just a theatrical document dump depends on what the DOJ chooses to release. and what it chooses to hide. And remember, Trump's reversal means one of two things. Either he truly believes transparency will benefit him, or he is betting the system will still protect the people he needs protected. Either way, the next 30 days are going to be tense. Leave a comment below before you go. Do you think Trump is doing this because he wants the truth out, or because he wants to control the narrative before the files drop? I am really curious what you think. And if you want updates the moment these documents start coming out, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this story is just beginning, and the fallout